Hello everyone and welcome to Faithful to Big Brother, where we are discussing day 6 and also, to everyone's surprise this series, our first housemate removal.
Shocking.
Can you guess who it was?
Well, I was going to say, let's keep that hook for people to
was
carry
it
on
Jojo?
listening.
Was it Patsy? Was
Did
he a bit
Angelica say something out of the ordinary?
Who knows?
Did Chesney finally crack and his personality actually show? Could be anyone. It could be absolutely anyone. I couldn't tell.
Didn't see it coming, but it's happened.
No.
They've been removed. They only now get a bit of their appearance fee, not the full amount.
Is that actually true?
Yes. So
is that really true?
Yes.
Where did you read that?
Somewhere. I'm not going to say my sources.
Fair, so Reddit.
No, it wasn't Reddit.
I mean, let's be honest. I think Stevie Wonder would have seen this happening. Let's be honest. It's it was quite obvious, wasn't it?
It was. It wasn't like a big thing that happened that made him then get thrown out. I think it was an accumulation of from the second he touched AJ to leaving.
He touched AJ.
Literally.
So before he went into the house,
0.5 seconds. It was a snowball, and they were like, "Well, maybe we should just get rid of him now."
I have to say though that, and I said this to you as we were watching it, that oh, by the way, hello, I'm Alex.
I'm Ben. Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. I'll give you details how you can get in touch with us in a minute, but I would just like to say that if this had been a series even about 5 years ago, like, I think it wouldn't have been seen as major enough to kick someone out of the house still at that point, because no physical violence had taken place, and though this person, and we're going to keep it secret still, although Mickey made a lot of people feel uncomfortable in the house, Ella, Patsy, Jojo, to name, Angelica.
Don't forget Angelica.
I was going to say, I won't forget Angelica. She had to turn to be about her at some point, didn't she?
Why are you not asking me?
What about me? It reminded me of that line. It was Jennifer Coolidge. It's a film, and they're making this film. Like, they're trying to get like Oscar nominations, and she plays like a producer. And like, there's a scene when they're in the caravan discussing like a plot of the film, and she goes, "But what about me?" And it reminded me of her when Angelica said that. But anyway,
odd. Yeah, talk about that later.
For me, there's like, don't get me wrong, what Mickey had done throughout the show, like him threatening to tie someone up, him with AJ, him being
Jojo,
homophobic, him calling out Chris for no reason whatsoever because Chris was messing around,
not liking broccoli from Patsy,
that's the top
of the list.
I mean, that was it. Ella basically saying, "Do you want to come inside of her?" It was filthy. It was disgusting. It was not
about Mickey.
It was nasty. Some of the things he was saying, whether he meant it or not, you could discuss this all day long.
And we will,
and we shall. But like, if it had been, if this had been 2003, that would have been like, the producers would have been like rubbing their hands together, thinking, this is press coverage right here.
I have seen a few things online, and I kind of agree with the people saying it. We watched last year's civilian one where Ali won. We do know who came second in that one, don't we? Mr. Marcello. He did say quite similar things that Mickey's been saying through the entire run, and he made it to the final without a warning. So
yeah. I know. That's what I say.
Are the celebrities given more?
I think.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
maybe because they're celebrities, that the producers are much more careful.
They care about them.
Yeah, probably. They don't give them as much rope to hang themselves, because they know that in the outside world, this could be a career ruin. This could ruin careers. While with the non-celebrity version, Marcello, let's be honest with you. He
said way worse things.
Oh,
Marcello.
He did. He said horrible things, Marcello. But then he made it to the final. When you look at the numbers, though, Ella won by
Ali.
Ella,
not Ella.
Ali won by like 80-90% of the vote, so it was always going to be her. But the fact
she had to torment him for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. He said to her, "Oh, if you were with me, you wouldn't be a lesbian as well." He said the same thing to her in the smoking room, didn't he, off camera? So he said loads of skank stuff.
Don't get me wrong.
Anyway,
I feel like ITV made the right decision. It's just that it feels like like you say, it's a bit. I'm using the comparative of time. You're using the comparative of celebrity and non-celebrity, and both are valid points in my opinion. Same producers. It's the same, yeah. And so that, if they're saying there's this safety blanket of the show where the producers have to look after the people, and offensive language and behaviour will not be tolerated, and that seemingly with Mickey it was pretty much a 3-strike system, and he had his third one and he was out. This should be a blanket rule for one, then, for every series, be it celebrity or non-celebrity, but also it's funny to look at the aspect of time, like how we've evolved as a nation.
Like compare it to Fight Night.
Completely, yeah.
And even then, it took them
it took
bit
them
to get
about
rid of
half
Emma.
an hour to even get people to even get Big Brother to like shouting them out, and then at that point, then they got security in.
I love how we can just say Fight Night, and like certain people just know what that means.
Yes,
Fight
it's a
Night.
famous night.
It was good night. I love that series. And I really liked Emma, and I was annoyed that she got thrown out. But anyway, that was 20 years ago. I need to go for it.
Long time ago.
Before we carry on, then, how can people get in touch with us if they want to?
Thank you. Yes, so you can get in touch with us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads by searching @Faithful2Podcast, on Blue Sky @Faithful2Podcast.bsky.social. I don't know why that cracks me up every time. Tickles me that. YouTube, you can find us by searching Faithful2 Podcast or Faithful2 Big Brother Podcast. If you find us, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell. If you're watching us in video form, comment underneath the video and let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode. You can also watch us and listen to us on Spotify, where you can also comment as well, or listen to us on your favourite podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe on that as well. If you like the podcast, don't forget to give us a 5-star review, tell your friends, share us on social media, and if you want to help with the show monetarily, you can nominate us by going to, when I say nominate, I should say it's a way of, basically it's buymeacoffee.com/faithful, and if you go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, you can then donate £5, but we've done it as a buy me a nomination. So you see what we've done there? We've tied it into Big Brother.
It works really well.
It really does, hence why I have to explain
How'd you go on there? Have you said that? buymeacoffee.com
buymeacoffee.com/faithful buymeacoffee.com/faithful.
So we've got our first
buymeacoffee.com/faithful.
we've got our first shopping task.
Yes.
Which, isn't it amazing that every time they do a shopping task, that is what kicks people off? Like, everyone's happy, friendly, we're all getting on. This whole thing's going to be amazing from launch night. When they go in, it's like, oh, everyone's nice. It's difficult to nominate people. The second, and it's not even like a long time, it's literally the second the shopping task starts, they create a divide and people end up hating each other, like, literally like that. It's like they went into that room, the captain and the first mates and the others, and it literally instantly
caused the divide.
They were like, we're ordering all the food, we're going to eat all the food. Chris and Jack were annoyed because they had to stand watch for so long, and it's like instantly they were annoyed and divided. So it's amazing how like a shopping task can just change it like so quickly. Well, and then Mickey gets thrown out.
Yes, well, you go in.
That tipped him over.
You go as an equal. He got
tipped him overboard.
Oh, you stole it. You stole it. He was told to walk the plank. They go in as equals. They remain as equals throughout the days up until the first task, and then as soon as you say, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. The producers then deliberately divide them so that there's a conflict in there. And
I wonder like how because they don't pick Jojo, Captain, Angelica, and Donna's first mates. Do you know what I mean? The producers have purposely picked those three. It's like I'd love to know like their reasoning, like the producer, why those three out of all of them did they pick to be the ones who are getting the privilege and the other ones who are getting like rations and nothing. It's like why Angelica, why Donna, and why Jojo as leader? I guess Jojo was leader because she's quite theatrical, so she gets that script and she was able to just come in and be captain and walk around the stage and do it all, I guess. But like why those two as the first mates, I wonder.
Maybe because they're not done a lot, so it puts them more in the centre. Yeah, it forces them to be a bit more shown and to be more their personalities to come out. Could be something as simple as that to be forced upon them. I mean, the watchers on the deck who had to watch out for battleships and octopus or
Chris
octopi,
and Jack,
Chris and Jack, that was decided by Jojo and the first mates.
Are we going to talk about as well Jojo and Chris?
Jojo and Chris's relationship and how it's upset Ella. Ella literally laid her agenda on the line on this episode, and she painted it out. It couldn't have been made any clearer. She just said openly, like, I came in here and thought I was going to be really close to Chris. So basically, Ella, you thought you were coming in that you were going to start a relationship with Chris.
We said that on launch night. Literally, she didn't even wait a day. It was on launch night. She was doing the let's flirt and we're a couple stick. And it actually has turned out that Chris is actually better friends with Jojo, and is kind of, she was like, why is Chris ignoring me?
Yeah.
It's like, well, why should he not? Why should? And she was like, it's really weird. It's like, why is it weird?
And then
Because you're not friends.
And then she got upset with Chris because Chris was like accusing her of sleeping, which she said she wasn't. And then next shot, she was sleeping
on the bench.
But she gets like, you can tell that she's frustrated because she thought that Chris would be like an easy relationship to build
why does
on.
she assume that her and Chris would be close? And why is she upset that they're not? Like, why don't you go be friends with Jack? He's the same age.
I don't know. I think Jack's a bit older, isn't he?
But you know what I mean. Like, what is her?
They're young. They're good looking.
like-
He was on Love Island. She's on a show.
That's what I mean. So it's obvious she was
similar reality.
She literally broke up with her boyfriend the week before, and I know that she was crying. She was upset, and she said it wasn't.
Of course, it's a sad situation.
But
for
like,
her.
it was like, well, what did you break up because you were going on the show and you knew that Love Island was on here and
Love Island.
A
Is
Love
that what you're gonna call
Islander.
Chris now?
A Love
Island.
And it's like, well, is that
ITV7? I think you'll find
that's her whole plan, and it's not worked out, and he's getting close. But I don't like how they're like focusing the camera on like Chris and Jojo like stroking each other's backs, and like when she was putting makeup on him, she rested her hand on her hand on his arm because she was leaning over doing the makeup, and they like zoomed in on her hand. It's like, well, she's only supporting herself while she's doing it. Why are you trying to make out that there's a thing between them? Like, it's really gross.
It's strange to me because
weird.
Jojo is gay, so I don't know why they're trying to insinuate that like Chris has turned Jojo. It feels really icky that they're kind of insinuating
and I'm
that.
sure that is producer manipulation of the edit more than
100%.
anything else.
Because like that's just
It's
that's just a clip of the day. That's just like 1 second of the whole day. For me, Jojo and Chris's friendship, and it is a friendship, feels more like a brother and sister, a very close
with
brother
a weird
and sister.
edit, which makes you think that there's
Yes.
something between them, and it's like, no.
But they're like those photos that you saw online. I remember we played a game of it once on a podcast years ago, and it's like brother and sisters or husband or a couple, and like they're that kind of friend, that relationship. You know, they're very, very close, so they can be touchy feeling to each other. You know, Jojo was touching his stomach tonight's episode. Chris was like, "Oh, give me a hug." They're just really close, and I just feel like it's
I don't like that.
Instead of painting the picture of them being. Instead of sexualizing it, which it feels like that's what they're doing, it's like just show them as being this close. I would be more interested in seeing how upset Ella's getting about this closeness.
I know. I mean, the zoom in on her face from the bed, like at the back of the room, watching them.
Yeah.
I liked that edit. That was funny.
That was fun. Yeah,
because
every
she was
time.
that. I believe that edit. I
Yes.
don't believe that
Yeah.
Jojo and Chris are. Maybe won't they? And it's just like that's just a weird edit, and I don't.
My
like
favourite part of it was when Ella said this when she first talked about it. I can't remember who she was talking to.
I think it was Angelica and Donna.
But she said, like, you know, I ain't bothered. And it's like, well, you are bothered because you're mentioning it. So it's obviously something that's playing up on your mind. But yeah.
I'm not bothered, but why isn't he close to me?
But what about me?
Why should he be close to you? Just because you're both. She obviously went in there with that mindset of we're going to be close and we're going to have this showmance and it'll take me to the final maybe. Yeah, but it's not worked that way.
No. But I like
go make friends with someone else, Ella. Go make friends with Danny and just be a gay best friend.
Why don't she join the girlfriend group, which was Patsy, Donna and Angelica? They said they're sticking
she can
together.
muscle in. Patsy's
We're all
not
best
asking
friends.
Angelica if she's okay, so Ella can muscle in and take her friendship.
Because there's always splits within groups, isn't there? So
Sugar babes.
The new sugar babes, we've got them right there. All they have to do is sit on a stage and just have curtains fall down on top of them. No, I like Jojo and Chris's friendship actually, and I really hate that the producers are trying to turn it into more. And I love, and they really need to lean on it, the fact that every now and then you just see a shot of Ella looking jealous from the side. More of that. That's fine. I encourage it.
But yeah, she was She just wasn't having it with this touch. She was a bit over it, I feel, Ella. She was upset about Chris. She's not in a good mood.
She said it's her time.
So all this is going on. And then Mickey, she said, "Oh, Mickey, you have to come with me to the bedroom." And he said, "Huh? What?" She said, "Come with me." And he said, "Come in, you." And then that's what upset
Ella.
Patsy. It upset Ella, Angelica.
Yes.
Donna and Chesney was also there who didn't sort of agree with it, and also Danny was like, "Mickey, you can't say that, don't say that." And there was a weird bit with Danny and Patsy as well, because that's when Patsy said, "Oh, every now and then I think he's okay," and then he says something and it makes me think, actually, no, you're not okay. And when Michael went on the eviction night, she said to him, "Oh, you're here, so maybe we'll have to be friends then. It'll be funny. The public might like to see a bit of a journey of me and you being friends."
Back to that in a minute in the task.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to go on to that now,
okay.
actually. But there was a task where Danny and Trisha had to like be honest to open up things to get prizes, so they had to be honest about their house.
It was a bit like Read the Room producers. And it's like you just had this big moment where Mickey had this called Chris out. Maybe you could have just left this, or maybe made it a bit more lighthearted. It was
strike while the iron's hot. Why not? But it started off a bit like wet because Trisha was like, well, Danny picks his nose and that's really irritating. And they were like, and they're like, open the chest. And like as it went on, for some reason it like really went wild, and it's like, oh, Danny's suddenly being super honest.
They stuck with Mickey pretty much for every single one, because Mickey wasn't even watching the task. He was asleep. So they could pretty much be carte blanche with what they felt about Mickey. So they were, and the whole group were kind of just all going like, yeah, Mickey is a bit of a twat.
Trisha said the worst manners, Mickey, and that's when she sort of got more and more honest.
Then Danny came out with something about Patsy.
What was it? It was like, what was it? Was
what, with the chest? I forget.
Yeah, it was like being fake
dishonesty.
Yeah, that was
dishonesty.
It. And it's like he really went like to 100% all of a sudden. I was like, why did you do that? It's a bit weird. Like, why did you do that? They knew they were
Patsy?
watching.
Why did you pick on her? And afterwards, so basically Danny said that Patsy was being a bit two-faced, a bit dishonest, because she suggested that she was going to be friends with Mickey, and then when something happened with Mickey, she then turned her back and said that she was sick of pandering to him, and she doesn't like him. And he said Danny was accusing Patsy of playing a game while he was only in the house to have fun. Patsy was a bit like, I'm not bothered, but she was bothered.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. And then later, Danny then went up to Patsy and said, oh, can we talk out what I just talked about? And Patsy actually made a really good point of that, like, we talked, when I said to Mickey about being friends, it was after the eviction, and it was kind of like our way of just basically saying, you're going to stay in the house now, let's see if we can make up. But then he had done something else to Ella, and so my view on him changed. That's not being two-faced. That's just me realising who Mickey was.
And Danny was like, oh. And he didn't have anything to say, because it's like, well, yeah, like, I don't know why he did that. Like, you didn't have to go that hard. Like, Big Brother were being fairly relaxed with opening the box by saying, you pick your nose. And then he went like full on.
And it's the
like,
only
but
one
everyone's
as well.
watching as well. It's like, well, why have you done this? So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was the only one
weird.
he really went nasty on, because he did also say that he found, they said it was people they found irritating. And he said, oh, I find Donna's laugh irritating. Here's an impression. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, like a seagull. Donna laughed.
And it was a joke.
She found it
and
funny.
Donna found it funny. Donna laughed at herself. But Patsy's was a very direct hit. It was almost deliberately direct. And I wonder...
something there.
If there was something that we don't know about, but that Danny now has against Patsy, maybe he's trying to... maybe it's the one accusing someone of game playing who's playing the game. Maybe Danny is deliberately trying to stir up the conflict.
I mean, on Late and Live...
Oh, yeah.
They announced one person... they announced that there's been a rule break, Chris, and apparently he said... well, we know who Patsy and Trish are going to vote for. They're going to vote for each other after that. And then he got in trouble.
Oh,
so something's happened between Trish and Patsy as well.
Oh, gosh.
So maybe Patsy's
the nucleus of trouble, isn't she?
I did warn everyone. She's a bit...
But the problem with Patsy is that... The problem with Patsy, knowing her so well, is that she gets triggered very quickly. Like it doesn't take much to kind of trigger Patsy.
Put her spikes up.
But but she's normally very good at brushing it away. Like the whole Danny thing. I genuinely believe that she heard what Danny said. She had the conversation with Danny. She said to Danny, "There's nothing I can do about it, so that's that." Fought her corner, and I genuinely think that she then thought to herself, that's finished. That's under the rug now. That's done.
I don't know. Is it though? I think that will just brew in her mind, because when he said it, she said, "Oh, well, that's a shame." And I was like, oh,
but I don't like hearing that Chris has done a rule break. Chris is the surprising character in this series. Chris is the one who went in, and I genuinely thought, yeah, he's nice to look at. Seems like a nice guy. He's probably going to have a few dude moments with the lads, which hasn't happened yet. Actually, there's been no laddie behaviour really happening in the house. No. But he's actually ended up being...
He's not done the Love Island thing with Ella.
He's not done the thing with Ella. He's got a friendship with Jojo, another character... I keep calling characters. Another housematey, who I like as well. So that's kind of probably bolstered a higher opinion in my mind as well, that her and Jojo are friends. Chris, genuinely, I think...
I know. He's gone from my bottom to my top.
Well, I'd like him to bottom and top for me.
It's not what I meant. You're going to be removed.
Oh my
from
God,
the
Mickey!
podcast.
Is Big Brother calling? I'm off. I'm sorry.
Producer Charlie said that Alex, you are no longer part of the podcast. You've had too many warnings throughout all these episodes of your inappropriate comments.
Inappropriate comments,
and it's just gone too far now.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Chris and Mickey was the thing that kind of pushed things over the edge because they were all lined up for the task and they had to like talk to Jojo, the captain, and go, matey, blah, blah, blah. And then Trisha said, well, there's a rap because Jojo was like, how's the team
this was
going?
A task that they had to be doing. They had to find out
They
who
never
the rat
finished
was.
that bit.
They never finished the task, no. But carry on, sorry.
But Trisha said, yes, there is a rat. And then obviously Chris, in his pirate character, looked at Mickey and just stared at him like, oh, you're a rat. And that sort of did something in Mickey's...
Triggered Mickey, eh?
And Mickey just went a bit like weird and aggressive and wanted to fight and said to Chris, you'll be on your ass in 2 seconds, I'll hit you. And he was very aggressive and didn't understand that Chris was acting. And it's all a bit like, what's happening? And then it's kind of escalated. And then Big Brother was like, come to the diary room right now.
Yes. This is Big Brother. Mickey, please come to the diary room now. I love in the British Big Brother. I love in British Big Brother, they always still say please. Please come to the diary room.
So Canadian.
Yeah.
And then Ella started crying because of the comment from earlier, which brought up stuff. And she said seeing him angry like that triggered something with her. And so Patsy was uncomfortable and it all just mashed into one big thing. And Mickey was kind of just in the diary room like, oh yeah, sorry, I lost my cool there, I'll apologise. And he didn't really seem to notice what he'd done. And it was almost like because of the past episodes he talked about his upbringing and how something has happened from like his father figure or something has happened in his past which he wasn't really that open about. We can all just assume what went on. There was sort of some sort of abusive behavior in his past or something that he's been doing therapy for. And I think he said it was when Chris eyeballed him and looked at him is what snaps. And obviously something in his past where another man has done that to him when he was young.
Said he has a problem with violence as
well. I think that's what's happened is like Chris doing that stare at him has obviously done something in him deep down and which made him snap, but not excusing it because he's like 80. He said, I'm a work in progress. It's like, well, we're all work in progress, but like, come on, you're 80 and you've worked into professional acting for like years. Surely you know when you're on a TV show and you're doing a task like this, you're all going to be in character.
Mickey couldn't distinguish, I don't think, between the housemate just being yourself in the house and Chris playing up to the task. And unfortunately, Mickey then, as you say, took it as a genuine threat to him. Mickey... Again,
they didn't remove him yet, though. They were like, we may talk to you later.
We need to talk to you later. So obviously there was a discussion behind the scenes where they then all decided to get together and discuss what they were going to do.
And that's when all the contestants kind of one by one talked to each other. Were like, actually, now this is out in the open. This is how I feel. This is how and everyone one by one basically went through and said, actually, I feel very uncomfortable. It's
funny because I don't think you saw all of them, but I believe from what the clips they did show that the producers brought in them one by one and asked them how they felt with Mickey being in the house. And obviously, I would say that a good majority of them said that they didn't feel comfortable with him being there anymore, which also probably led to his removal from the house as well. Threatening behavior aside, if you're in an environment like that, if people are saying that they're not comfortable, then it's likely for their mental health as well that it's not a great idea to keep someone in the house like that, and despite it being television and all that. Yeah,
and also being television, it's probably going to damage the show because everyone will just be like on a low or like always really too aware of everything. So it would probably damage the reality show part of it as well, I think. But like there was a moment which we talked about earlier with Angelica, Patsy and Donna, where Donna and Angelica were talking and Donna said, I might... So she said like half a sentence of leave, like, or go. And Patsy was like, are you going? Are you okay? And it was like... And then Angelica said, why are you not asking me if I'm okay?
But what about me?
And it's like... That was weird because like I understand some people have been saying like Angelica has faced loads of prejudice and people don't ask women of colour, are you okay? Because they automatically assume they're strong, and that's a big thing, which makes sense. Fair. But I don't think Patsy was doing that.
No, she wasn't at all.
It's because Donna said something like, "Oh, I'm going,"
yeah.
and Batsy thought she was leaving the house, and that's why she said, "Are you okay?" I don't think there was anything going on there, but it was funny to
don't forget, human beings are very damaged creatures, and we all carry a lot of baggage from our past on our backs. And clearly, you saw it with Mickey, but there might be some with Angelica. There might be some with Ella.
Exactly.
There's Patsy, Jojo. All of them might have some kind of baggage, and it's just unfortunate that
that's why they're on Celebrity Big Brother.
Well, when you're in an environment when you're being constantly filmed 24/7, these cobwebs in your cupboard start to be shown, and skeletons in your cupboard not cobwebs start to be shown, and it's sorry, I just smelled on your computer there, Vic Simon.
Okay.
And so you can kind of understand it. I don't, I jokingly said, Angelica was like, "What about me?" And Ella, is upset because she's not, getting attention that she wants from Chris. But it's heightened reality, and unfortunately for Mickey, he wasn't able to kind of like just pull it back a little bit. Like you said, when he was in the diary room and he had that moment of respite, I think he would have been fine in the house if they kept him in there,
but it would have made everyone uncomfortable. So it's not.
That's the point.
I feel.
That's the point of it.
Like the only one who was uncomfortable was him because he didn't really realize what he was doing.
Yeah, Danny brought up also that he felt almost cheated or foolish because he supported Mickey and he embraced him as a friend, and kind of defended him a little bit, and it got almost thrown back at him, and his association with Mickey, I think Danny was again a bit worried that his association with Mickey might look bad on the outside.
Because he's just been best friends with a Tory.
Yes, and he's best. Yes.
So he probably is questioning all of his judgments
now.
But I understand what Denny says, because I still do I don't like Mickey Rourke, but I still do kind of understand what was going on and the things. But at the same time, like Danny says, that doesn't excuse his behaviour.
I never condone what Mickey had done in the house.
But I get where he's coming from.
The only person, I have to say also, persons, I will say, the only people who I feel like owned their relationship, their friendship with Mickey, and, kind of didn't subscribe to it or kind of like make it an issue was, again, my two favourite people in the house, Jojo and Chris. Chris had a problem with Mickey. They patched it up. He didn't forgive him necessarily, but he
tried to understand
it.
Why it happened.
And Jojo was the first one to be like, as a captain, I will pack his bags. I will take responsibility.
And she spoke to him as well in the kitchen just before they called Ella in to talk to her because she was getting upset outside. She was talking to him and said it's a shame because there's parts of you which I see which are really nice, and it's a shame you let that happen to you. And he was sitting there listening to her. So yeah, I mean,
it's funny how Jojo and Chris seem to be the two most sensible ones in that house.
And I think it would have been interesting to see more of Mickey, but maybe not in this format or this show. But like, there could be something where they could have a breakthrough with him. I feel if it wasn't in this environment, there could be an interesting documentary maybe about Mickey Rourke in the future.
Streaming services, it's waiting to happen.
I think that's
a task that is going to be happening at some point. I can guarantee it, which is it does. Don't bear with me. I'm leading to something here. Okay. Is that they're going to do a Trisha chat show style task at some point. They're going to do it in the task room, and Trisha will be the host, and then they'll do silly subjects, but there'll obviously be an excuse for them to kind of like bitch about each other a little bit. So a bit like what they did with the courtroom. In Celebrity Big Brother last year, when they had the courtroom and one of them had to justify them. One of them had to be like the solicitor for the opposing party. Yeah. So I feel like they'll do something similar to that with Trisha. But since Trisha's background is chat shows and, conflict and talking things through and something like that, she seems to take a big backward step from, I know she said she don't want to be the mother of the house, but this isn't being a mother of the house. She could have maybe be a bit more involved, I feel like, with this kind of conflict between Mickey and the rest of the house. Like, she didn't really want to get involved at all with it. I feel a bit strange that Trisha didn't take such a big role in
I think some of them weren't up purposely because they knew they could quickly get in hot water by butting in. So maybe in a way they're thinking, I'm on camera, I'll just watch. Do you know? I think a few of them are doing that. Daly's doing that a lot, where he's just sitting back and
Daly's doing nothing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think
boring.
there's a few of them purposely doing that. I think Jack is a bit of the same. They're purposely not saying anything because they know how quickly something can spiral, like between Danny and Patsy, for example.
Well, they can get cancelled.
Yeah,
and also,
so-
and let's be honest, Daly did go in there to saying literally, I'm going in there for a rest and basically to make money by doing nothing. So let's be honest, I think Daly's gone in there knowing full well that he had no plan to do anything with conflict or anything like that. He went in there just to get his pay packet and then leave again. So boring as hell, but there you go.
Yeah, I think we do get nominations. I think they're tomorrow because the next eviction is a double. I think everyone's a double, which is a bit weird this soon on.
Not really,
so
because it's only a 3-week series, isn't
Yeah, but
it?
they're going to be knocking them down really quick.
As long as there's 7 left for the final, it doesn't matter. That makes sense because there'll be 2. There might not be a double because now Mickey's gone.
No, they're still doing one because the show's 90 minutes.
Ooh, exciting. Quick, but I know you want to go because we're at the end of the episode, but can I quickly just mention Lauren from Big Brother Series 1
the
came in as a mermaid and tempted them with a feast, which they accepted,
Yeah.
but it meant that they gave a curse to the captain and her shipmates. And
they got food.
And because they had and they
They
got
had
food.
to hide the food, go and get
But
caught.
they could smell it. But as
Yeah.
soon as the captain came in, they smelt it. And Jojo accused Chris of having
His
eaten.
stomach was full.
His stomach was full. But it was nice to see Lauren as a mermaid. That's what I
Yeah,
have to
Lauren
say.
was there, banter.
And she did say it was
said
total banter.
So
Yes,
there
which
you go.
made me
She's got a
happy.
paycheck. And yeah, their curse was that there was fish hanging over their beds. And they were like, well, tomorrow they're going to get it.
They're all going to get it. But it
and
was
I
nice
don't
to
know
see
what more
Lauren.
they can do because they made Patsy and Danny cook the entire menu. They was like, just buy one of everything, and they had to cook the entire thing. So,
To be fair,
Yes.
they did try to wind them up, but Danny told them not to. But yeah, if you haven't ever seen it, watch Lauren's
Lauren
apology
and Louis
letter.
Walsh,
Louis Walsh's apology letter. It's one of the funniest things
last
ever.
year's Celebrity Big Brother. Yes,
It's honestly a top
well,
moment.
Chris has to write an apology rap for his punishment about Patsy and Trisha.
Is that true?
That's what he has to do. So
it won't be as good as Lauren's.
no,
will
I
it?
know
Let's be
it
honest.
won't. But we'll look forward to
It was
that.
total ban.
Don't talk shite.
Right, so talk shite to us. Get in touch with us on Insta, TikTok, and Threads at Faithful2Podcast on Blue Sky.
Insta.
Did I say Insta? Oh, I'm so modern.
Such an ick. Carry on.
I'm going to get cancelled. Go to Blue Sky at faithful2podcast.bsky.social. You can find us on YouTube by searching at Faithful Podcast or Faithful2 Big Brother Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss any future episodes, and comment underneath the video if you are watching us with any of your thoughts about tonight's fight night. You can also go to Spotify where you can watch the video and comment on there as well. You can also listen to us on there, as well as Apple Podcasts or any of your favourite podcast apps. Don't forget to subscribe on them as well. Give us 5 stars if you enjoy listening to the podcast. Tell your friends, share us on social media, and you can help us monetarily by going to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, where you can buy us a nomination, and that really helps with the show as well. And any comments you put on there, by the way, will guarantee to be read out.
Lovely. Right. So we will see you all again tomorrow for day 7 and maybe, possibly, first nominations.